there are three things. One is the skill, which is the most apparent, most visible, like क्या master sketch बनाया, right? The visual appeal of the sketch. Hence, we have taken one example as Thomas Shower, because this rendering are like really contrast and like the perfect NATA sketch. Before that is the composition. How would you, what elements do you put in, right? So the skill is the how would you render it. The composition is the what elements will you include, right? So in this case, for example, many of you would have missed out this altogether. ये तो याद ही नहीं था. Giant wheel पता है इसको क्या बोलते हैं? इसको क्या बोलते हैं? This is called a giant wheel. This can be called a giant sword. Okay, so this is a giant. Unless someone knows the exact name for it. Anyone? So, giant sword. So this is the giant sword. So to put this, ये चमकना कि हाँ अरे ये भी चाहिए, अरे हाँ ये चाहिए था, अरे हाँ ये ऐसा वाला टेंट, तो ऐसा वाला टेंट तो क्या, अरे हाँ अरे लेकिन इसमें ना ये बैंड्स चाहिए ऐसा. ये चमकना, the grammar, the visual vocabulary, and hence you need to observe and sketch, observe and sketch, observe and sketch, so that your visual vocabulary, once you have sketched it, there is an act of deliberation. You are particularly, you are noticing it, and then you are acting upon it. It means you are sketching it, right? So sketching ensures that you have noticed all the details correctly. Now once you have sketched it, your neurons have reconfigured, new neurons have formed. सिर्फ देखोगे तो एक टिपिक करके एक साइनेप्स होगा और फिर in the next 10 minutes तो निकल जाएगा. Only when you keep sketching, these neurons are, the synapses are getting created and the rewiring of the brain is happening. This is an actual absolute process, and hence you have to keep practicing. इसमें आपको कंटाला आता है. कंटाला मतलब the neurons are still too tired to form the bridge and create newer neural connections, right? So synapses are not happening, तो उसके लिए याद नहीं रहता. So only when the bridge gets created, a new network of neurons, of neural cells gets created and practiced and hence strengthened, तभी फट करके याद आएगा exam, right? And for the rest of your life, based on that graph, right? So that's the second level, that is the what, which means the composition. But the most critical is the why, right? Which is the deepest. So what is your big idea? What's the concept? Right? So that is where your design thinking comes in. Otherwise it's still a pretty picture. It might be a great picture, but फिर भी मजा नहीं आ रहा. The rendering is great. So what? So the designer's mind is where you have a brilliant idea. For example, this, कि इसको मैं बीच में डालूं झाड़, ये चमकेगा नहीं normally. You might make a great rendering of a very boring view. मजा नहीं. पूरा चकाचक, full reflections, ये सब कुछ, full details, perfect lettering, etc., perfect human being, लेकिन वो view ही boring है. तो कितना भी उसमें embellishments करो, not going to work, right? So the concept, even if you want to include all possible elements, including this fellow, तो भी मजा नहीं आएगा, because your basic view itself मैंने मार खाया, because आपका design thinking नहीं है. क्रिएटिव इवोल्यूशन अब तक कम है, right? But if you have design thinking, that conceptual thinking, the big idea, I'll create this view with this in the center. Now that's a big leap. That requires certain engagement, a deeper understanding of psychology, right? Visual psychology, right? So what makes a great image? What makes a great photograph, for example? That's a very common obsession with photographers or cinematographers, right? Where should you place the actors? तो acting कर रहे, stage भी setting है, लेकिन मैं compose कहाँ से करूँ? तो उसके लिए किसको आगे लिया, किसको पीछे रखा, कोई out of focus किया, कोई एकदम like frame के अंदर लिया, or just right, so on, depending on the story, of course. So all that, and then a great movie itself, right? One thing could be the stage set and lighting, etc. The other thing is the actors, itna capability. But the most critical thing is the story itself, right? So that's the big idea. कहाँ पर किधर plot में twist होता है and you are like wow. हाँ अरे ऐसा था क्या? Right? Suspense movies में, thrillers में, for example. So the big idea, for example, Little Mermaid or Ant-Man. Why do we love these animated movies? Because they have the fullest latitude of a massive concept, right? What is that other one? Inside. Yeah. So, and even there was one more which was inner space. Right? The whole idea that this fellow is shrunk and he is now traveling within the body. Right? So that's a huge leap of imagination, which normally नहीं दिखता है. मतलब नहीं दिखता है. But मतलब real life में नहीं है. That is where you are leaping out, which probably animals can't do. Right? And even if they are thinking great things, they don't actually create movies unless in the animal world they might be screening little movies in their own spaces. Yeah. Right. So that leap of imagination, that is where the creativity comes in. That is where the big idea, the concept. Right? Why should the world be plunged into darkness after sunset? Why can't we have light after the sun has set? That's where this guy creates the electric bulb. That is like massive, which no entity in the animal kingdom would have probably thought of course. So phospholuminescence, phospholuminescence ऐसा कुछ है ना? Or deep sea creatures where the light doesn't even reach. Just all this. Bioluminescence, bioluminescence, something about light. Right, so generating light with one's own body. So now that's a huge leap of imagination of nature. Right, come to think of it, even we are a fantastic imagination of nature. जरूरत नहीं थी ना ह्यूमन बीइंग्स होने की, जैसे भी क्या उखाड़ लेते. So imagine the divine creativity, and that's why we designers particularly study design in nature, right? So we are actually studying or like how a cockroach moves, for example, or a centipede moves. How does it know what is the sequence of legs to put? इतने सारे legs हैं कि किधर किसको आगे डालूं किसको पीछे रखूं क्या पता, right? Imagine insects. Now, of course, it's all automated DNA and all that. But now to study all that and then develop robots, which then can go into, for example, rescue operations in fireplaces. So you are studying nature, nature as the divine creator or inspiration. Right. So now that's a massive concept, to study nature and then actually biomimicry, right? Actually create such mechatronics, mechanical engineering and electronics, robot, right? So all that is something like exciting. And the next thing is of course AI, but we'll not get into it. Yeah, chalo. So creating a fantastic view. The point being that ये आपको करना है, right? That is what is really going to separate the best from the rest, and that is where just one sketch and you could be actually scoring your 55 marks. In fact, now that's the memory. Likewise for 35 marks for 3D and 35 marks for 2D. Right, so 125 marks for drawing. So you really need to get your act together. Okay, yeah. So continue.